Hi, and welcome to the Pink Movement podcast with your host, Christy Collier. Each episode, you'll hear from some awesome people in and around the breast cancer world, sharing their wisdom on all things health and well-being. You'll hear simple information, practical advice, and useful tips to help you stress less, move more, and feel better.
Please note that this podcast contains general information only and should not be treated as medical advice. Hi everyone, I'm Christy Collier and thanks for joining me on episode 13 of the Pink Movement podcast. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show through Apple Podcasts or on your favourite podcast app. And if you could, I'd love it if you could take just a few minutes or moments and leave a quick 5-star review. What this does is actually allows us to reach and connect with more women just like you. Now, as many of you know, breast cancer treatment takes a pretty big toll on our bodies. So it's important that when we're able to, we start to rebuild. One of the best ways to start doing this is through strength training. Now, I know what you're all saying, but before you go running for the hills, do not be scared of strength training. That old image of people pumping huge weights in the gym is not what it's all about. Well, not for us anyway. It's actually about having better balance and posture, improving our bone health, and increasing our overall energy levels. All of this allows us to do the things we need to do in our everyday life. You know, those boring things, but necessities like groceries and washing. And strength training doesn't have to be daunting. To help us learn a little more about it, today we're going to chat with personal trainer and Lift for Life facilitator, Tina McLaren. Tina shares with us the enormous benefits of strength training following a breast cancer diagnosis and also introduces us to the Lift for Life program, an 8-week professionally led evidence-based strength program, which as a side bonus also happens to be quite social, which I know many of us love. It is the absolutely perfect place to start your strength training after breast cancer treatment, and you'll be amazed at how much improvement you can get in an 8-week period. So have a listen, and I hope you'll be inspired to give strength training a go. Tina McLaren is a fitness instructor and personal trainer at the Range Community Gym on the Sunshine Coast hinterland and is currently studying to be an exercise physiologist. As part of her job, she coordinates and runs the Lift for Life program, a program backed by research which is all about improving your strength to allow you to do the things you want and need to do. Tina has a significant personal connection with breast cancer, her sister being diagnosed 3 times over the past 6 years. She has taken several women who have had breast cancer and who are at various stages of treatment or recovery through the Lift for Life program with great success. Originally trained as a psychologist, Tina also works as a carer for clients with dementia and assists them with exercise. She is passionate about movement and exercise to improve quality of life. Tina, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me today on the Pink Movement podcast.
Thanks, Christy. Thanks for the great introduction.
Pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you on board. Look, I'd like to start today by learning a little bit more about you and your background and your history and how you became involved in becoming in the fitness world, and then your link to breast cancer and how that has impacted you.
Okay, sure. So I guess I'm not your typical fitness instructor. I didn't really like a lot of sport at school. I did it, but I guess it wasn't until I had children, I had my first child, and I sort of realized then that I really needed to be strong. I needed to have strength in order, if I was to lift this child on my hip with a pram to put in the car with the other hand, I needed to have my strength. And that's when I first got involved I went to a couple of personal trainers to try and get my strength back. And that's where I just realized the importance of being strong and having that independence, because that was a really strong value for me, to be able to be free and have the choices I wanted to make. And by being strong with good strong muscles, that kind of helped me to achieve that. So it's started from there basically, and then I got a job. I've always liked working with older people, and I just got some work as a carer with older people, and I was going to our local gym, which also caters for people. Our average age there is about 65, and so they were having problems getting people in, and I just had a background in writing grant applications, so we were able to write some grants, and they suggested I do a fitness certificate to help with some of the courses that we're looking at writing for, and then they offered me a job there, and so we've worked from there with the Live for Life program from then on.
Sure. And I think it's really interesting to hear you say that after you had children, one of the reasons that you went and saw a trainer and started to be involved in fitness, well, a big reason was about being strong and having that strength for independence and choices and being able to look after your children. I know for so many women, rightly or wrongly, it's about weight loss. And, you know, that's important too because a healthy weight is important for our health. But it's, I love that you answered that by saying it was about being strong and strength and independence. It's quite unique to hear somebody say that, I think.
Yeah. And I think I was never into the weight loss. I mean, I probably am more now, but I was never into it then. And because it was always about, I guess for me, it's that value. And I think that's what I see with the women that come through with breast cancer, is it's about regaining that independence and that strength because it's, having gone through all those, having gone through chemo and all that sort of stuff, about, a lot of it is about fear of it coming back. And I think with the strength training, it gives you that confidence that your body has the ability to stay strong and to and give you some confidence in regard to just having your body back in some way as well. That's what some of the women are saying as they come through the program. So.
Yeah, and I mean, going through breast cancer myself, I know your body is weak. It's attacked by all sorts of drugs and surgeries and bits and pieces, so that strength component is really important. I wanted to ask you about your sister. I mean, 3 diagnoses over the past 6 years is quite astounding. How has that been for yourself and your sister and your family? Yeah,
I mean, I think it's been quite a shock. So, because you never think it's going to happen to your family,
of course,
it happen to anyone else's. But you just hear stories and you don't think it's going to. Yeah, you don't think that you think your family's invincible. And I guess we always were a small unit because it was just me and my sister and my family, and we always moved around a lot. So to have something like that happen was, it was quite a shock to everybody involved, I guess. But of course, Kim, my sister, more. So yep. So she's come out the other side quite. It's all good at the moment. So
okay.
So hopefully it stays that way. But she's always been quite fit and healthy, and I wasn't into strength training when she first got diagnosed. I didn't know anything about it to help her. But anyway,
Okay, and so she's well now, though.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Okay.
I just got married, so.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Nice.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to talking about the importance of strength training following a breast cancer diagnosis. You sort of have started to touch on them, but what are the key benefits of strength training after a breast cancer diagnosis?
I think one of the things is that the latest research is showing that it can help you through the chemotherapy, and also it can help you recover quicker if you do it. I need to point out that the Live for Life program is not that kind of program. But what we find is that people come after they've got. We would recommend people go to an exercise physiologist, or I think my first podcast was a pink physiotherapist, and
yes,
and we'd recommend you go to them and do their work first. So we've had people at the gym who've come through with breast cancer, and what they found that the consistency needed to get the achievements of the strength training is too difficult within while following the program, that they need that specialist. You need that specialist help basically to do it. That we don't have those qualifications to offer that. But the Live for Life program is more after you've gone through that process, and then then you need something that's low cost that you can keep up for the rest, for ongoing time. Then the Live for Life program offers that opportunity to do that. Yeah, so I guess one of the things that can come out of that is that some of the drugs can cause osteoporosis. We find with the Live for Life program that a lot of the people who come through have got osteoporosis on some level, whether it's they've just got osteopenia, the light bit, or they've full strength osteoporosis, I guess that's how you call it. But and that the Live for Life program is a really good program to help keep your bone health intact, kind of thing. So it's a good thing to do after you've gone through the initial program of with an exercise physiologist or physio. Yeah. Okay. So, and the other thing is that there was the research to show that people said you shouldn't, after you've had your lymph nodes out in your arms, that you shouldn't lift weights. And now the research is showing that it is beneficial to do that, but we would recommend you go to an exercise physiologist or a physio to do that sort of work before you come to us and do the Live for Life program.
Okay. So I think that's a really valid point that you're making there, which is first point of call, certainly during treatment or immediately after treatment, is your exercise physiologist or your pink physiotherapist who are specialists in the field.
That's really good.
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah. I mean, Lou James, who runs that pink physiotherapy program, which is, sprinkling out to be worldwide now, it's just phenomenal. It's specialists specifically trained for women with breast cancer. But then after that, having gone through treatment, women are able then to really engage in some strength training. And the Live for Life program, which we're starting to talk about now, is something that they can be involved in. So we might just switch a bit and talk about that for a little bit. So tell our listeners exactly what the Live for Life program is and how it works.
So basically, it was developed for people with diabetes. But what they found is that, and so what it does is actually it's a high-intensity exercise program. So what that means is that a lot of programs you just lift weights, but the idea is that you need to progress those weights to a higher weight and keep challenging your body every couple of weeks so that the body builds bigger muscles. And it's in that bigger muscles that a lot of the benefits of strength training come in. So if you're not challenging your body every few weeks or even up to 6 weeks, then the benefits of strength training aren't you're not getting those that they're promoting in a lot of the exercise classes. And so originally it was designed for people with diabetes. So what it did, it got bigger muscles, and this helped to reduce the excess sugar going on in your body. But what they found is that there's other benefits to strength training for other chronic conditions such as osteoporosis, such as arthritis even, and also for people, who've had different joint issues and back issues and whatever. And so they broaden the scope of it, and it's broken up into, it's an 8-week program that you do, and you have to do it at least twice a week, because that's where the benefits of strength training come as well, is that you need to do it, it's no good doing strength training once a week, because your muscles don't have a chance to get bigger. So basically you do it twice a week, and you do it for 8 weeks, and then once you graduate from that, you get a bronze medal, big bronze medal, and then you do a silver 8-week program, and then you do a gold 8-week program. And what we found that at the Range Community Gym is that we just keep running 8-week programs. So now we have a maintenance program. And what they found is that you can do those sort of things at home. You can do, you can get a cable machine or something like that and do the strength training at home. But they found in the research that people need to go to a program, but people on whole don't do that. That basically you need to come to a structured program, and we assess you at the start, and so that's where we can tell whether we need to refer you to a different allied health person or even go back to the doctor to check medication or whatever. And then at the end of the 8 weeks, we also assess you again on how strong you are, and then you can see how your strength has developed. So we're finding that people's, even though it's a strength training program, because they've got stronger legs, their aerobic ability has increased dramatically. We found that legs, the strength of people's legs, how strong they can get off chairs and things a lot easier than they used to be, and we found that they can lift a lot heavier weight. So that helps with everyday exercises like hanging out the washing or just getting off a chair or just having more energy in your everyday life.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful. What would you say, and because I know I'll get this question, to the many women out there, and I probably was one, although I'm not anymore, who are a bit scared of strength training, concerned about building muscles, too many muscles, or who just haven't done any sort of strength training before?
Yeah, and I guess, and that's what I think the Lift for Life program is a great program to start with because it's a small group, and I know I just wish around Australia there was a lot more community gyms because I just think they have this much more relaxed attitude to, like, we don't dress too well, it doesn't matter. I mean, I think that's a big thing too that we were finding with people who had breast cancer is that to fit into a bra again after and to then come out into a strength training program is really difficult. But the program, no one dresses particularly, no one wears tight shirts or anything, it's not, I guess, and people aren't there for that reason it's more about health, people are there for their health. And so I think that has a different focus and then and it's it's a smaller group. So you're not so self-conscious. Everyone's in a similar boat that haven't done it before. We take you through the program on your own to start with before you join the group. And then, and I think that's a big factor with people with gyms is that they're not a welcoming environment. There's a lot of, and it's such a shame because it's such a base, I really think, especially as people get older and they start to lose more and more muscle, that it's more important for older people than it is for younger people to go to the gym because they've still got their muscles, and yet, so there's got to be a way of breaking down those barriers, or people who are larger who need to get fitter don't want to go to the gym because they're too large or something, and yet they're the people who need the gym, and if the barrier is because of if that's the barrier that's causing people to not join, then there's got to be new ways of designing gyms that's not the case, or have them community based, and so it's not about what you look like, it's more about you're here for your health, and so is everyone else, and people have made great friends. I mean, one of the people who's come through the program, who that's one of the things that they kept coming back. They didn't actually like strength training. I mean, I don't think a lot of people do, or you're doing it already, I think. But it's but they come for the social thing. And I think, you do exercise for, especially women. I think they do it for the social element.
Yes.
And there is the Lift for Life program is a small enough group that there is that social component to it. And you see different people get stronger, and that encourages you to get stronger. And it doesn't have to be for long. It can be 30, 40 minutes of your day. Just come in, do your program, have a chat, and then go. You've got the rest of your life to enjoy.
Yeah, I love it. Look, and you're right, especially with women. As women, we often do it for more than just the benefits of the exercise. We do it for social, and we do it to get out of the house, or maybe a break from the kids, or a break from our partners, or whatever it might be. But there are lots of extra reasons why we engage in exercise, not just the benefits from it. You mentioned you've taken some women who have had breast cancer through the Lift for Life program successfully. What sort of outcomes did they find?
I think basically they got stronger. Their osteo levels, I'm not too good with the technical stuff, but basically it showed an increase in their bone density. That was over a year. That was they kept going over the year. So that's been quite encouraging. That was a big fear factor for them. And, so that's been quite encouraging in regard to that. It's probably and then their balance is also, but these were with older women as well. So these women were around 65 to 70 who've had breast cancer in the past. Yeah.
Yeah, balance is an interesting one. So strength is obviously a key thing to come out of the program. Interestingly, with breast cancer, and I don't know what it is, but the balance side of things, it has an impact on you. So getting stronger, building stronger muscles obviously creates that inner strength, which helps improve that balance, right?
Yeah, and we've had some really good successes with people's balance being improved, basically because they've got stronger legs. That's sort of a big factor in it. And then in the program we do put in a number of balance exercises just because of that's what people are looking for. and it seems to have helped them a lot. Yeah, it's like, so people start the program not being able to stand on one leg for 30 seconds, which for some people might seem ridiculous, but, you know, for someone else who's a fear of falling, it's a really big thing, and by the end they can do that, you know. And so that's the kind of, that's after 8 weeks. You know, it's quite amazing how quickly people's bodies can respond to strength training. So, yeah, it has a lot of benefits.
And it's an evidence-based program, so it's got research behind it that proves all the outcomes of it, which is fantastic. So that's always important.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and basically, and so that helps with getting referrals from doctors and from physios and things like that. We have an exercise physiologist and a physio who works out of the gym as their own private practice, so we use them as a referral basis for a lot of the program.
Okay.
And the guy who designed the Live for Life program is also the guy who did the research for to find out that if you like sitting is the new smoking. He's the professor behind that as well. So
right.
It goes to show, yeah, the credibility of the program.
Yeah, absolutely. And so tell me a bit, I mean, I don't expect you to tell us exactly what you do in the program, but give some examples about what sort of exercises someone might find if they were to do the Live for Life program. Yep,
so they're basically using your big muscles. So something like sit to stand, which is a squat. So that's, you know, just getting off from a chair. We try and make them functional so that, you know, so that's a really big one. I mean, your muscles, especially for women, because our muscles are in those parts, you know, we've got bigger muscles in those areas, and we've had some, that has really helped people get stronger and, you know, help with the balance. So that's one sort of thing. So basically a squat, there's, I don't know if people know the terminology, but it's a lat pull down. So basically it's like hanging off a bar, but it's not, you're pulling it down. We've got equipment that makes it safe for people to be able to do it. We do have a chest press. We don't use that exercise, which is like a push-up basically, but we don't use that exercise as much with breast cancer because it can pull across there. But yeah, it just depends on the person. And also with people with osteo, we really want to strengthen their backs more than their front. So we do things like a seated row or rowing. So it's sort of like just rowing your arms or standing up and then using a machine to counter the weight. And we do balance exercises, so how long you can stand on one leg for. We use half a football called a bosu, where you can stand up. So you go on how to stand on uneven ground, because that seems to be a big factor. So as you get stronger, you find that you can stand on uneven ground a bit more. We just do, people like to tighten up the back of their arms, so we do tricep dips and yeah, so it's all really basic exercises, mainly using the big muscles and then just tying up with some of the smaller ones at the end of the program. And then we do stretches at the end as well.
Okay.
To make sure it's all, relaxed.
So for a woman with breast cancer who might be interested in doing some strength training when she's able to do this is obviously an absolutely perfect program for her to be involved in. Something that is evidence-based, has research behind it, is led by a qualified professional. Prior to commencing the program, I assume there would be some pre-exercise screening undertaken to ensure that the exercises that a woman would be doing would be safe for her at that point in time, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So we follow the Australian Adult Exercise Screening Program put out by Fitness Australia and Sports Medicine and ESSA, and that gives an indication. That gives an indication of where people are at and whether we need to refer them then to the exercise physiologist or the physio. And then we take if they're okay to go, or we usually need a doctor's certificate as well, especially if they recently gone through surgery. That then we take them through the program, and we do an assessment to see where their fitness is at the start of the program, and then we can measure that at the end of the program. So that fitness looks like how many times you can get off a chair in 30 seconds, sit to stand, how many times you can lift a dumbbell, your bicep curl in 30 seconds, how long you can stand on one leg for. Those sort of exercises can give us an indication of where people are at to start with. And then you can see after 8 weeks how you've improved.
Okay. And obviously the 8-week program, so each of those sessions, there is a professional there leading the program, right? So if there is any queries or if they feel uncomfortable or if something's just not right, there's certainly somebody there to guide them and help them through that.
That's right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And there's only 12 per class, so you can't do more than 12 people, per class. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think this is wonderful. I'm a big advocate now for strength training. I never used to be, but I am now. And following a breast cancer diagnosis, I think it's something that's just not talked about enough. We certainly talk about being active and moving and exercising, and definitely that is of the utmost importance. But I think it's really important for women to understand the benefits of strength training, not only following a breast cancer diagnosis, but just as we get older as women.
That's right.
And those who've never done it before, which a lot of women haven't, this is just an ideal program to start. Get your foot in the door, start and go along with a professional with a qualified professional in an evidence-based, research-based program. So the Lift for Life program, that's available all around the country at a range of facilities, right? So it would be a matter of them finding one that's nearby to them that runs the program.
That's right. So you look up. It's www.liveforlife.com.au, and then you can put in your postcode, and it brings up who's offering what course around the country, pretty much where you're at, where there's one that you can go to.
Fabulous. Okay, I'm going to put that link in the show notes of the podcast today so that everyone can find it, and I'll also do some promotion of that on social because I think that's a great resource. Now, for those people that are up in your neck of the woods, if they wanted to do some work with you guys in your facility, where would they find you?
So we're at Mapleton, and we're underneath the Bowls Club. We're in the community gyms underneath the Bowls Club, which is Post Office Road at Mapleton.
Okay. And does the gym have a website, Tina?
It does. It's if you type in the Range Community Gym, it comes up.
Okay. Well, Tina, that's all we've got for today, but thank you so much for joining me today on the podcast. I thoroughly enjoyed learning all about the Lift for Life program and the benefits of strength training, and I do really encourage our listeners to have a think about this and really consider it after their treatment to get involved in some strength training, to start rebuilding that core strength in their body, as you said at the beginning, to help create that independence again and give them some life choices and just to be able to do the things we need to do in our life. I think that's just of the utmost importance. So thank you so much for sharing everything you know with us today. It's been a pleasure having you on, Tina. So thank you.
Thanks very much, Christy. I've really enjoyed it.
Thanks for listening to the Pink Movement podcast. For episode notes, links and downloads, head to thepinkmovement.com.au. Like what you're hearing? Join our Facebook page, subscribe through iTunes, and while you're there, provide a quick review. Want to help out? You can support the ongoing production of this podcast by becoming a patron. Find all the details on the website. The Pink Movement Podcast, helping you to stress less, move more, and feel better.